industry on parade. A pictorial review of events in business and industry, produced each week by the National Association of Manufacturers.
Butte, Montana, copper capital of the world, built on what has long been known as the richest hill on earth. Below the surface, the men of the Anaconda Copper Mining Company answer their country's urgent need for more and more copper by tapping a great new source of this precious red metal. Not a new vein, but a new way of bringing out lower-grade copper ore, which by conventional mining methods would be far too expensive to mine. At a cost of $27 million, Anaconda utilizes the block caving system for putting lower-grade ores into the service of a copper-hungry America. As in all modern mines, the safety engineer maintains constant direct supervision, keeping the safety of the miners the paramount consideration. Before drilling into a new face, all loose rock that might fall on the men is knocked away in a process called barring down. Holes for the explosive charges are drilled. Up to this point, the work has been much like that in any other Anaconda mine. But now we'll begin to see the differences of the block caving method. For the ore, once it's blasted loose, goes through practically no manhandling whatever. Instead, it drops through grates into transfer chutes that feed it to mine cars waiting on a lower level. Obviously, a lot of costly preparation must go into this kind of mining, but once the work begins, it goes fast, and the savings are tremendous. Only such efficiency makes it possible to utilize these millions of tons of otherwise useless copper ore. The cars, each carrying 5 tons of ore, from which not only copper, but also other critical metals may be extracted, move along to the new Kelly shaft, through which their contents will be raised to the surface. 50 years ago, hard rock mining was a back-breaking business with a great deal of pick and shovel work and endless lifting and throwing. But under a setup like this, the men who work the mines let the machines they control handle the back-breaking jobs. The cars are dumped automatically into bins feeding the skips that hoist the ore to the surface. Not just to the surface, but far above it, a height from which it can be moved into the ore bins. The 12-ton skips are already bringing up enough ore to produce 40 million pounds of copper a year. The high-grade ore in the veins of this area have long since been mined out. But now the pressure has been put on for more metals of every kind. And Anaconda applies unique methods of increasing still further copper production already at high post-war levels. From here, the ore will be transported to the company's processing mills at Anaconda and Great Falls, Montana, there to be converted into the pure metal so necessary for electrical wire and cable, engine radiators, roofs, ship parts, and other military and civilian products of every type and description. All products of copper that will be produced in still greater quantity thanks to an ingenious new method of utilizing the wealth of the Butte that's still the richest hill on earth.
No one has to tell us that we're carrying around cheap dollars these days. Housewives know it. Industry feels it when it replaces tools and machinery. And our government sees it when it buys for defense. Actually, our dollar is worth only 53 cents compared to the 100-cent dollar we had in '39. We can help halt further inflation by producing better and turning out more goods, by holding down costs, by using credit carefully, by opposing extravagance in government, and by saving in every way.
truckload of birch logs from the North Woods pulls into the yard of the Pinocchio Veneer Company at Mellon, Wisconsin, to be transformed into one of the most beautiful and durable veneers ever cut off a piece of hardwood. This is the plant that was the largest single producer of birch veneer for Britain's famous mosquito bombers during World War II. The RAF used the thin sheets of wood in place of metal and wasn't concerned about the product's appearance. Now civilian users get the benefit of birch veneer's strength and are very much concerned and impressed by its appearance. The peeled log is brought to the lathe, where it's centered carefully to obtain the greatest quantity of flawless veneer it can possibly produce. At first, the razor-sharp cutting edge hits only the high spots. A man called the clipper separates sections with knots or other imperfections from the clear, uniform portions. And once the log has been reduced to a perfect cylinder, we get a long, continuous ribbon. The record here is one unbroken strip, an 85th of an inch thick and 1 mile long. But this piece is an 1/8 of an inch thick, and the log wasn't very large, so the ribbon runs about 50 feet. Now, this too will be clipped. The thinnest veneer produced here is a paper-thin 1/100th of an inch, the thickest almost a 1/4 of an inch. Some of the plant's output goes to the firm's plywood factory at Ashland, Wisconsin, but most goes to furniture makers and other such users of veneer. Until now, the veneer has been saturated with the hot water that allowed it to be cut off the log. The moisture has also made it easier to handle. But now comes the time for it to be dried, after which the strips are spliced by a sort of wood welding device into panels that look for all the world as though they were made of many birch boards put together by a master carpenter. And so do desks, wall panels, furniture get the richness, the hardness, the permanence of birch, one of our most beautiful forest products made to go a long way by these craftsmen of the North Woods.
Wind-up toys, still going strong after many years, for there's nothing like watching the little car or truck zoom away under its own power. The Los Angeles company that makes many of the spring motors for wind-up toys, as well as for clocks, alarms, and scores of other products using the same sort of power plant, has done some zooming itself, since it was founded as a hobby in 1930 by Betty and Arthur Wilson. ABC Products Incorporated, since the start of World War II, has also been an important manufacturer of communications equipment parts for the armed forces and aircraft parts for such companies as Douglas, Bendix, Consolidated Volte, and many others. Much of the work on defense orders cannot be shown for security reasons. But there's plenty going on here that can be shown. For side by side with the military orders the company turns out, for example, as many as 10,000 alarm mechanisms a day. Although ABC Products normally employs only about 90 persons, it has an investment in plant and equipment of more than $250,000. Classified by the government as a small business, it's a business that's a very important cog in both our military and civilian economy. Last part to go on the spring motor is a fixed winding key. Here the key goes onto a shaft attached to the coil spring that stores up energy and releases it as needed. Door and window burglar alarms powered by spring motors give warning when the doorknob is turned or the window raised beyond a certain point, as demonstrated by ABC Products co-founder and president. The company she founded as a hobby has grown far beyond the miniature scale of some of its products.
By maintaining a free economy, Americans have been able to produce more and better goods in less time at prices all of us can afford. Americans have accomplished this by improving and strengthening its individual competitive enterprise system. Other nations which have chipped away or destroyed freedom cannot match our magnificent industrial advancement, nor our high standard of living. As good citizens, we must raise our voices whenever we see anything which will halt our parade of progress or destroy our way of life in this land of the free.
Ray guns for the Buck Rogers era? No, but they're guns all right. Electron guns with a very practical application today. And John Gunther of Chicago, their inventor, has created a business around them. Gunther combined one modern product, plastics like those used in kitchen tabletops and sink surfaces, with the even newer science of electronics. This piece of textolite is joined to the wood with glue. Nothing unusual about that, but now we'll see how the glue is hardened into the strongest, most permanent bond imaginable by heating it with a stream of electrons shot from the gun. The intense heat thus created does something to the molecules of the glue to make it stick so tight that when you try to pull wood and plastic apart, the wood will disintegrate first. Not only can plastics be joined to wood in this way, but wood to wood also, eliminating the need for nails and accomplishing in minutes what would take hours in a gluing press if it could be done in a press at all. The new Prudential building in Chicago is utilizing plywood walls for offices put up with the guns produced by Gunther's company, Reeve Electronics Incorporated. Like ironing a shirt, with one important difference. The heat comes not from the kitchen stove, but from that highly versatile object, the atom. Here's the result. The plywood gives way before the glue will. The same basic idea is being developed by Reeve Electronics to heat-treat equipment for motor plants, to preheat plastics so they can be shaped, and to bond materials that can't be sewed like plastic raincoats. A brand new industry based on a brand new idea. Here's another demonstration of the remarkable way in which the electronically heated glue seems to fuse two materials together in almost no time at all. If you have a heavy-eating brother-in-law hanging around the house, here's one way to support him.